I want you to decide today that you are powerful. The P. Each and every one of you have a purpose. Opportunities will present themselves for you to fulfill that purpose. The E is for the endurance that's needed in order to reach that purpose. Because you're going to be that first person in your family to accomplish that purpose through those opportunities with the wisdom that you have to endure because you respect that purpose and you have faith because of your uniqueness, because you are 1 in 7 billion.
I'm here live with philanthropist, investor, entrepreneur, Mr. Savant Moore, for another Black Light discussion series as we're going to examine, how Savant, has been not only a trailblazer in pursuing many different businesses and many different investments that he's pursuing, but also, his personal life as a father and as a leader, and how he's been able to manage all these different platforms and some of the lessons that he's passing on to the next generation. So we're welcoming Mr. Savant Moore onto the Black Light. How's it going, Savant?
How you doing? Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me on your show.
Of course, man. No, thank you for joining me. And I I remember, one of my first experiences with you was at Howard University. You were actively on campus, raising money for other students to have the opportunity to, continue their education through scholarships and other opportunities. I see you're working right now with the Black Fund, with the Black Funder. Yes, Savant, let's not only talk about what are your motivations, but let's go through all your businesses and investments that you're working on right now.
Right. Yeah, back in college, I had a party promotion company called Comma Club, and I would use half of the money to give back. And we had a group of friends that I started, Anonymous Angels. We'll go to financial aid office, find out who had a student balance and needed to graduate. And we've been doing that since 2015 is 2020, anonymously, just giving back, helping more African Americans graduate from college to pursue their many passions and dreams. Also, with a friend, Alexis, we had started our own undie run, and we were giving away $10,000 worth of clothes to a homeless shelter. It's just been something that I've always been passionate about being a social entrepreneur. Before I was at Howard, I was in the United States Army. I was an Army Ranger, and I happened to have a business on the side as well. I had started a pizza shop. And from every purchase, we donated to Hawaii Food Bank. I would feed 500 people a month that were homeless. It's just something that I know to whom much is given as a Christian, much is required. I love to give back. That's just the lifestyle that I choose to do to this day. I just recently started Black Funder. I see how what's going on in our community, the Black woman is unappreciated. So in 2017, I had lost my house to a fire. And I saw that there was this Letters Foundation. Warren Buffett had actually started with his sister. You write a letter, and they will help you in your time of need. And they actually wrote me back, called me back. I never received a fund, but I always remember that this billionaire had this organization. So I said, what if I do this organization for my community? So I started Black Funder. We've been funding people, whether it was just if they needed a babysitter for the night, if they had a business that they wanted to start, $100 to start the LLC, whatever, it doesn't matter. We just want to show that Black women are appreciated. And so that's just been my passion, just being a social entrepreneur.
I love those motivations and aims. And like that pursuit, a social entrepreneur, that's not, I feel like that's not a term that we, even hear used and, is brought up often in our discussions in the pursuit of entrepreneurship. And, definitely as we're aiming to develop other young entrepreneurs, Savant, can you kind of talk about maybe an experience or someone that you met that first really motivated you to pursue social entrepreneurship?
Well, it started when I was 9 years old. I was adopted, as many of you may not know, but my adopted mother was the first African American counselor at my high school, and she took me to a counseling event. She went to a conference, and she didn't have a babysitter. And this random Caucasian man was selling books. I was 9 years old. He showed me how to operate the credit card machine, and he left. And I sold out every single one of his books that day. Just this young, fresh kid, 9 years old. But him showing that social currency of, it wasn't about the money, but he took his time to teach me something. He planted a seed. And so that's all it's about. Us as entrepreneurs, we got to plant seeds. People randomly call me to this day, like just asking for advice. It's not about, is someone going to pay me for a conference? It's about, I have this information. I've been there before. Like I tell people, don't find a mentor, find your future self. And so that guy poured into me, and look at me now, I'm still an entrepreneur to this day because he was pouring into his beginning of self. He said, I see something to this kid, and I'm grateful for that experience.
No, and I see that too, that pouring into, it definitely, like you said, it's what it's going to allow not only our community to continue to grow, but your personal investments. And as an investor, you must have a keen eye, for not only seeing what is the right move to make, but also, what's fruitful land, for the seed to grow and nourish. How do you develop that skill set and that trait to not only identify it in business, but even when you're working with other people, what are some characteristics that people should look out for when they're moving and pursuing these type of business relationships?
I think that you got to give everyone a chance. So see, that's the difference between me and most other investors. They looking for that pedigree. I don't believe in the pedigree. It doesn't matter what school you went to. It doesn't matter where you was born. It's like your work ethic. Do you have this dream? Are you willing to give all to it? As you can, at Howard, these two guys that didn't know, they started a dating app, and I just knew the passion that they had in it. So I joined forces with them, and before you know it, you got thousands of downloads because I believed in their dream and their idea. And by me believing in them, they believed in me in the future with my own future endeavors. So it just starts about believing in someone's idea and just knowing that this person may not be who you think because of their pedigree, that they may not build this company, but it's actually based off their work ethic, how passionate they are they willing to learn. We have to also realize that it's not about what you don't know, it's what you're willing to learn. Like, are you willing to be resourceful? Are you willing to use the resources? Are you humble enough to ask questions? Are you humble enough to build a team around you? You can't do none of this by yourself.
Right. So, in the type of investments that you're making, right, when we're looking at the Black Funder, when you guys are examining, Black women who are out here pursuing their aims, or, even some of your other businesses, as you were noting that, you're looking to support, other Black entrepreneurs aiming to make their dreams happen. In that evaluation process, what are some of the shortfalls, that you often see people make, that prevent them from getting over those safe gaps and those barriers, that allow their business to grow and, take those next steps and become that multi-billion dollar business, that we're seeing people have?
I think us as a community have to remember to cross our T's and dot our I's. Like, let's have the foundation. We all can have the hustle and bustle to have this idea and hustle on the side, but are you willing to invest in yourself first? Do you have an LLC? Now, do you have a CPA to do your taxes? People could be mad at 45. It's the CPA you should be mad at. There's all these laws and codes that are to our advantage. There's resources. You're a minority, whether you're a woman or if you're African American, another. There's resources in your city, in your state, but you have to have the LLC. You have to have the business account. Like, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's. If you do that, there's no reason that you should fail because you have the foundation. It's all about how are you rooted.
And I was going to say, that's what I love really about, even when you pursued your speaker series, you really went into the nuances of what the steps people need to take, to build their credit up. And, what are some of the shortfalls? I was even looking at it like when you were posing it up, like, bro, I really vibe with this because, this is content and information that people need, and, need to be more resourced in. So as you're, leading all your business platforms, how do you find the time to, manage and do all these things? Because I feel like specifically, as a younger entrepreneur, I feel like that's the biggest challenge, like even when I'm focused in on one thing, like you got to make sure all these accounts are organized and, all these things. You have multiple businesses. You have multiple business pursuits. How do you not only organize your time management, but really make sure that everything and all the keys are really rolling on each one of these separately?
Right. I think it's something that I learned. My mother said, my grandfather always said, the early bird catches the worm. I'm getting up before everybody else gets up. Like, people will knock Eric Thomas for telling people to get up at 3 a.m. But the most successful people that I know that came from nothing, they're getting up at 3 a.m. They're doing whatever it takes. Like, first, before I even get to the business, you got to take care of yourself. So when I wake up that early, I'm a Christian, so I do devotion. I have to reset my mind. I'm doing affirmations as a father. I make my children do affirmations daily. You have to do that. I have to work out. How can I be a CEO and I'm not physically fit to maintain? As a father, I'm not physically fit to maintain my family. So that's the first thing, taking care of self mentally and physically. And then you go about your day. I'm also, how do I stay in the know? Like, I'll always read Hacker News so that I know in every different industry what's going on in the world in tech. I'm on the news channels, making sure that I'm fresh to know what's going on. Like, for instance, when you talk about investments, we know that investments are by news. So when I see the news, then I'll research who actually owns this product, what's the company, so they can be on my radar, on my watch list. And then you just got to go about your day, break it down. Okay, I know I have the next 8 hours. Automate, automate everything, automate, and also know that you cannot do it all by yourself. You need a team. Now, some people aren't gonna have other human beings, but you can use your phone, other apps as your team. Like, use the resources that you have. That's what's gonna help you when it comes to time management and being able to manage everything, and knowing that not only do you have this business life, but you got a personal life that you got to manage as well.
Mm, definitely. And as you were just noting, there's so many new avenues and resources. Some of them are being developed by, other black IT people, other black tech innovators. Are there some that you are aware of, or any black businesses that become aware of through this digital age that really stood out to you?
And right now, I know that there's a company that's coming up. Can't say the name, but I need you to look out for November Black Friday. It may be the next Black Amazon. You got to like just stay abreast of what's going on. There's resources like the Black Upstart that Kezia, she's teaching Black entrepreneurs the foundation that they need to have. You got Blavity that keeps you knowing what's going on. Afrotech with Morgan DeBond. It's just, you got people that are new to the game. Someone like the Black and Mobile, they'll start they see a company like a DoorDash and start their own version. It's just like, you just have to, keep your eye to the street. You got companies like Support Black College Help. Luckily, we went to Howard. There's so many Howardites that have companies that are always on the cutting edge, and that's why I'm always just making sure that I'm abreast of.
Exactly. And that was, I feel the power of going to and being a part of that network. And when I got to connect with you, you and I had so many powerful conversations about, not only our place in the world as Black men, and what that would look like, as we were developing as in our entrepreneurial dreams and aims. And also, you were actively doing things, to not only provide other opportunities for other people, but being a student as well.
Right.
You were managing both. And now, life 360, like you're now a father, and as you were talking about sharing those seeds, what are some key lessons that you've been able to share down with your kids at this point?
With my children, it's about like whatever your dream is, pursue it now. My daughter, she's about to be 10 years old and have her second book that's released in January. She wants to be an author of 106 books. As parents, you have to push your children. If they share a dream, you have the resources, help them toward that dream. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't do it. There's nothing that's stopping you. It doesn't matter your age. If that's your dream, we're going to research. We got Google. We have YouTube. Let's make it happen. And so that's what it's about. It's like, I'm just pushing my children to know I want to die empty. I want to have all my dreams. I wanted to see them in realization. And I also try to teach them that it's okay to fail. We got to always just fail forward. Everything has not worked out perfectly in my life. But one thing is, I never give up. When I met you, I was almost 31, like graduating from school. I had did the Army for 7 years. While I was in school, I had to continue to work. I was taking 18 credits an hour to make sure that I graduated. So like, how did I learn tech? My major in college was history. I went to a coding boot camp and learned how to code. Like, it's like, just do whatever it takes to pursue your dream against all odds. And so that's what I try to instill into my children. Like, you got a dream? Okay, let's figure this out. Let's backwards plan. A lot of adults need to do that as well. Let's backwards plan. Like, okay, this is the end result. What is step one to get us toward that end goal? And know that it may not be in 30 days. It may not be in 90 days. It might not be in this year. Like, what is your plan? Are you going to not give up because it's something that you wanted? So I just try to instill that into them.
Yeah, and I think what you're really highlighting right now for me is, the role that you've taken on now, as a father, as a leader. And I shared a recent study with you, prior to our discussion, that really stood out to me, that was conducted by the University of Notre Dame. And in the post, I'm gonna have the role of the article so everyone can see it. But basically, what the study did was examine the testosterone levels of men in Africa and then men in the United States, and really looking at, the comparison, and then how their testosterone levels impacted the way that they led their families. And what it basically explained was the testosterone levels prevented men of, different backgrounds, etc., from being better caretakers or more nurturing of their children. And for you as a father, when I shared this article with you, what was your reaction?
I totally disagree. A lot of people will say that I have a high level of testosterone, being a Ranger in the United States Army, former sniper. Like, I consider pretty masculine, but I'm also willing to do my daughter's hair. It comes down to, it's not on a testosterone level. It comes down to on a mental level of like, who do I know my children need me to be? And I gotta be there every day. I gotta wake up. If my daughter needs me to learn how to do her hair, let me go to YouTube. Let me ask other women, Black women that's around me, so that I can do it properly. Like, it doesn't matter about your testosterone level when it comes to your children. If my son cries, hey, son, it's okay to cry. We as men should have emotions. Like, it doesn't matter like how masculine I am. It's about, am I creating a total person for them and for myself? Am I open enough to be vulnerable as a Black father, and knowing that what these children, one day, what I'm always saying to my son, one day you're going to be a daddy. You're going to have these conversations with your son. One day my daughter is going to be married to a man. What representation am I presenting to her on a daily basis? So that's just what I think about every day. Like, every day, I haven't been perfect, but I'm progressing. You're learning. There's no manual to being a parent.
No, and I think what you're saying too, as a man in today's time, we're impacted by so many different things, that challenge our identity. And in today's context, we grew up with a Black president, as Black men, and we were able, or I grew up with a Black president, and I was able to see that shining light, and that expanded my whole perspective on what my capabilities and possibilities were. But even now, like as you're noting, that role and that sense of masculinity, is being challenged. Is being challenged a little bit. And I think in today's time, we are seeing men, and specifically in our community, take on more of these roles, and say that, I'm okay with, not being as masculine, or, I'm redefining the role of a father, or what that looks like for my family. Do you see that happening around you as well? I mean, you're in Houston.
Right. I think that we got to remember, like, there's so many stereotypes of like what a father is, but on the level, if we really look at ourselves, there are some positive male influences in people's lives, whether they're their biological father, or as the person at the barbershop, if he's a coach. and that person is they're a 360 person. They have masculine qualities, they have feminine qualities. The what it comes down to, they're there. Like they're present with that child, they're present with their friends, they're adults, they're sharing themselves fully. Like as a man, true masculinity, are you going to share yourself fully? And a lot of people, we can't just be about talking, we have to be doing, and remember that this is a daily walk to be quote unquote masculine, to be quote unquote open to your femininity. Like be open to that. It's a daily walk because we're needed. And that's what, like my hashtag, fathers matter. We are needed. It doesn't matter the experience if it was bad from someone else, but what change are you going to be? Like you be the change. You be the change. Like if I have issues with my past, be comfortable enough to talk to your friends about it. Whether it's your minister or therapy, work through those issues, become healed, because you don't want to put that onto your children. You want to put that onto your friends, your coworkers, your business, people around you. Like there's so many people that we as men are impacting by our actions. And so today we have to wake up and know that we are a leader. You're a leader for yourself. You're a leader for your house. You're a leader for your community.
Yes, and would you say that so many of these modern athletes, and this, as you were noting, even now, the digital time, we have leaders like yourself going out helping their daughters publish books, from an early age, so they can pursue their literary aims and passions. Would you say those pursuits have changed a lot of the stereotypes around Black men now? I mean, I feel like
Yes.
the article was even trying to frame it in a way that didn't directly point to race as a way that connected the reason as to why the testosterone is directly.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important that we see these visual representations and remember that most of these times when we see people writing the articles, they do not look like you and I. And that's why it's been like I'm a historian. Like I have a degree in history, and reason that I wanted that degree because when the professor was taking us these rooms, it was 99% another hue telling our story. A lot of times in these articles, it's another hue telling our story. So I'm glad that we live in this digital age where we have this phone is showing us that those stereotypes that they're placing upon us, they're not all true. There actually are positive representations that's more so on the majority side within our community, but we have to show it. And I'm grateful for, shows like you that are showing that there are positive side to our community, and it's probably more majority over the minority. And we have to be willing to not like those people. I was doing things anonymous, and this just shows me why I have to show that I'm doing it because it's important. Because I'm gonna encourage the next man that, hey, it's okay for me to do that. Like this is the new cool. This is the cool to do the right thing by yourself, do the right thing by your children, do the right thing by your woman, do the right thing by your community. And you got to show that example. Like let's make this the new cool because it actually is cool. Like it's not cool to be wrong. It's not cool to not be there, not be present. Because one day we're gonna all get older. And one day that child is going to grow up and they're going to remember those moments. Like it's a short time that they're in our house, 18 years. But after that 18 years, they're an adult. Are they going to come back and visit? Are they going to come back and call? Are they going to be there, like reach out to you when they need you, when you're needed? Because they're remembering that you led by example. Like that's what a leader does, leads by example. And I'm so grateful that we're seeing that in this digital age, examples time after time after time.
No, and thank you so much, Savant, again for your time tonight. Because I feel like you definitely have exemplified that, in the times that I've known you. Not only from your motivations as you discussed early on this, even from as the time you were 9 years old, seeing and working with other people to make success happen in your immediate community. And I see that now, as you're continuing to build up your family, and encouraging your daughter, to pursue and get her literary works and her thoughts out, and share that with the world. I really am inspired by a lot of your works. And, I want to continue to, tell everyone, make sure you guys go follow the Black Thunder right now. Look out for a lot more of his businesses and moves. And, Savant, you had any other notes or, seeds that you wanted to plant with other people, that could be tuning in right now? Yeah. Did you have any final thoughts?
Just what's important in our community. I'm pushing another thing, that save yourself. I have a podcast and I'm encouraging people. We see what happened with this pandemic. It's important that you save. I'm encouraging people to save up to $5,000. I'm encouraging people to go out and vote. I'm encouraging you to work on your credit. I got a podcast that's coming on about the guaranteed way to actually be rich, to talk about index fund investing. But what's most importantly, be there for your family. Like, in order for us to make change in our community, it's going to start with that immediate family. Like, if you're not today in this moment, you see this video and you're not doing the right thing as a Black father, let's make the change. Let's mend that broken road with your co-parent, with your spouse. Like, be there for your daughter, be there for your son, be there for your community, because you are important. Your past is in the past, but what are you going to do when you wake up in the morning tomorrow to be the better version of yourself? Because you impact so many people that you don't even realize that you impact, from immediate family, extended family, friends and family, people that watch you on social media. So I just encourage you to wake up daily and be your best self for those around you, because that will encourage them to be their best selves.
Said true words spoken by Savant Moore, investor, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and father. We thank you so much for joining the Black Light. And we thank you so much for everyone that's tuned into our discussion tonight, not only on Savant's philanthropic aims, his investments that he's made in his community, but, the role in breaking down the need for leadership from a father. And, I really, truly appreciate your points that you made today on identity and being secure on what you're doing and how you're moving as a man. Because in today's time, we have so many different angles and perspectives and jades coming at us as Black men. You got to be solid on who you are, what you're doing, and your aims. And a lot of those things and a lot of these insecurities, these things of the past, even your own, like you noted, your own relationships, you got to be better than it. You got to rise above it, and we got to hold each other accountable as other Black men to be our best. So I thank you so much, Savant, for coming on the Black Light tonight. And everyone, you guys stay tuned. We're going to be coming out with more interviews throughout this whole month leading up to the election. So I'm going to be going live with some people talking about voting rights. We're going to be looking at health. We're going to be looking at it all. So thank you guys so much for joining this discussion on fatherhood. And check out my page. I've done some other stuff with some other media companies before, specifically Legacy Media. We did a great project on Black fathers, beat dead dads, looking at how the system is, taking advantage of Black men in the system right now who are not in the best financial situations to take care of their children. So really, you guys, thank you so much. Do your research on this Black fatherhood thing, because we got to keep building.